I'm going to jump on my computer and draw this out. And there's one big key distinction that I learned in this whole process. So on the top, there's you, or we can use me if you would be more comfortable with me as the example here. And there's the income that we're bringing in from whatever it is that we're doing. And where this income goes is really what holds or unlocks the secret. So we have two things. We have assets and liabilities. And every dollar that you spend is going into one of these two categories. Every dollar that I spend goes into one or two of these categories. Now, what's the difference between an asset and a liability? Personal opinion, this is the number one most important thing. This is the secret right here. I'm going to tell you two ways that this actually manifests, but the real key here is that assets bring you money, liabilities cost you money. I'm going to say that again because it's super simple. Things that bring you money are assets. Things that cost you money are liabilities. So your car that requires oil changes, insurance, maintenance, etc., that's a liability because it costs money. The house you live in, whether you're renting it or buying it, costs you money. Even if you're buying your house, that means you have a mortgage payment, you're paying interest to the bank, you're paying taxes on that place, you're paying for all of the maintenance and upkeep and utilities, etc. That means the home that you own is actually a liability because it costs you money. And I'm going to draw how this works because once you see this, it becomes a total aha moment. So out of the money that is earned every single month, some portion for sure goes to liabilities because we all have liabilities that, we got food, we got rent, we got things we got to pay for, right? We do need a roof over our head. It's not the point of this. It's not about getting a van and living by the river, #van life, trying to make your life cooler than it is. That sucks. I know. How do I know? Been a nomad for 4 years. But how much money is going into assets? Now, what I'm about to show you here is when we funnel money into our assets, what the assets do is actually create a surplus of money. And then when we funnel that money back up in through the same process, our assets start to grow and they actually create more money. And this is how wealthy people get wealthy, is they focus their attention, their intention, and really they focus their cash flow into assets that generate positive cash flow. And when that cash flow from the asset comes back out, what do? They funnel it back in to more assets. Said another way, wealthy people collect assets. Poor people collect things that cost them money. And this is the biggest distinction that I had. Now, there's two ways, as I said, that this works out, but I want you to think about it. So in my videos here on YouTube, a lot of people who teach digital marketing that I teach and do what I do, what do they show? They show fancy cars, right? They got their supercars. They got their Lambos over here. How much do you think insurance is on a Lambo? How much do you think an oil change is on a Lambo? I've actually looked. Some Lamborghinis have $4,000 oil changes that have to happen multiple times. They've got race clutches in them. How much do you think it costs to do a clutch in a Lamborghini, right? And that's why when purchasing these things, this money goes out to other people. Okay? This money goes back to you, fam. That's the key distinction. So what happens is it creates a cycle. The money comes in, we buy new things. Those new things cost us even more money, which require even more money to come out. When Lambo boy buys his Lambo for 250 grand or whatever it is, it ain't done. It ain't over. That's not it. Now there's even more money required. And what is this money that goes into liabilities doing? It's keeping them from putting more money into assets. And this truly is the difference right here, as clear as day. So I want to show one more time. So here's how the cycle can work when it gets going for you. And I'm going to talk about two ways to implement this. So there's the money that's coming in. Now, the first question might be, well, Miles, I ain't got no extra money. I get it. My family was there, right? So what did I do personally? Personally, I worked 2 jobs and learned how to build a business on the side, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But the number one key at the beginning is how to increase this number. Because if what's going out to the liabilities does not afford you the ability to buy any sort of assets, that means all your money is going to go out to liabilities. It's going to go out to other people. And that's either corporations. It's literally going out to other people, right? Interest, banks, insurance companies, landlords, et cetera, is where that money goes. It does not flow back into you and your family. But when you get yourself going in a situation where you are able to bring that money into an asset, then that money can create more cash flow itself. That cash flow comes up here. You make a little bit more money every month, and then you flow more money back into another asset when the timing is right. This gets you more money. And eventually, what can happen is the money generated from your assets is more than your liabilities, which is your mortgage, your house, the lifestyle, the food you want to eat, the entertainment you do, going out with friends, all of the things that we all spend money on, right? I got liabilities. I ain't trying to be like holier than thou in this moment saying I don't. I definitely do. I got a truck with a cool little camper thing. There's things I like in life. But my goal and what wealthy people do is wealthy people focus on taking the cash flow that they're earning. They always work on increasing what they're earning actively, and then they funnel their cash flow into assets that generate additional cash flow. When that extra cash flow comes in, they funnel it back into more assets. And that's the key. And I found two very specific ways to do this. Number one is through business. And that's why I've taught everything I know about growing a business online here on this channel. 580, 590 videos, all of them free. No pitches. I don't have a $1,000 course. I don't want to sell you nothing. I literally want you to understand how to do this because I have achieved the level of freedom I desire in my life, and I want to help you get there. And you getting there doesn't require you to spend $2,000 or $4,000 because I ain't got no Lambo that needs an oil change, right? I'm good. I've built business systems to pay for my life as is, which is why I'm sharing this with you now. So when I left home, I found there's two things that families do. Number one is they own businesses. Now, this helps in two ways. Number one, the business can generate a lot more cash flow than you can with your hours, right? So my business can have a $10,000 day. And I don't know how much your hourly rate is worth, but odds are you don't have an hourly rate that is sufficient to make a $10,000 day. Neither did I. I didn't have those skills, but I was able to build business systems that could reach the lives of millions upon millions of people, and it could add enough value to the lives of millions upon millions of people that it could generate thousands and thousands of dollars every day in profits, okay? The number two way is real estate, okay? So real estate is kind of interesting because everybody needs a place to live, right? No matter what the economic conditions is, no matter what the world's looking at, everyone needs a place to live. And what landlords do is landlords actually get other people working for them, right? So what happens is landlords' real estate, which is an asset to the landlord, actually becomes a liability to the tenant. And the tenant is going to pay for all of the liability aspects, right? So the rent covers the mortgage, it covers the insurance, it covers the taxes, it covers the maintenance when the deal is structured correctly. If you get it wrong, your rental could be a liability because it could be costing you money every month. But when it's done right, a rental property should be covering all of the costs and it should generate excess. And that's it. This right here, literally, this super simple, kind of messy, I admit it, this super simple formula of just ask yourself, what are you doing with your money? Are you spending all of your money on liabilities? Are you putting any money into assets? If not, there's something you can do today. And there's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And it's an old book. And the big idea from the book is you pay yourself first and put aside at least 10% of what you earn for yourself. And the real idea here is if you start to put aside 10% of what you earn and start saving up for these assets, you can really put yourself on to a much different path than you might be on today. There's an audiobook called Prosperity Consciousness from Frederick Lehrman. I'll have the link below. Somebody bit off his title and copied it, but on Audible, it's only on Audible. It's from Nightingale Conant. Again, the link will be below. It's Frederick Lehrman, and he talks about a system of running multiple bank accounts because you can't ignore your liabilities, right? You can't ignore rent. You can't ignore food. You can't ignore the electrical bill. I get that. I totally understand. But what he talks about doing is running a multiple bank account system. So when you get paid, that money gets split up between several different bank accounts. And what you do is one of these bank accounts becomes your asset account. And that gets 10% of everything that comes in goes in your asset account. Now that account might not be ready to put a down payment on a rental property right away, but eventually, if you habituate the process of putting 10% of everything you own in the asset account and you live off of the other 90%, you put yourself in a position to be able to afford your first asset. And that first asset can spit off $200-$300 a month. And eventually, the amount of money that comes in from this asset that again runs through these exact same, you can run through the same account systems, then you can put yourself in a position to purchase more assets over time. It's really powerful. There's some other ways to do this. If you want to learn more about how I'm doing this, right? This is the money management side. Everything on this channel is teaching you how to create cash flow and create income by building businesses online, selling digital marketing services, selling products and affiliate products online. I'm teaching you how to increase your income by spending your time in the mornings, the nights, the weekends when you're not working, building a business online. But then what do you do with your income once that's coming in? I can teach more about that. Real estate, I'd love to go into it. If you want to hear more about that, let me know in the comments below. But this is where, I've got my affiliate case study, right? So my affiliate site that my team is building is yet another asset that's going to create more cash flow. It goes up here. I got Wifey's site that's an asset we've been building for 9 years. It creates cash flow that goes up here. I got my site here. I've actually got a couple of sites under my brand. That brings it here. My YouTube channel is yet another one that brings some cash flow. That brings the money in here. And then what am I doing? I'm funneling it into more things. That's where I got the budget for my affiliate website. I got real estate coming in. I've got real estate deals in the work. I'm hunting for more real estate deals right here today. And this is how wealthy people create wealth. And I started with nothing. I started with $50,000 in student loan debt. I started at -50, to be perfectly honest with you. And through understanding the difference between an asset and a liability and really going all in on this and just trusting that if I put my money towards assets that generate cash flow for me, I'll get more cash flow, and eventually the cash flow from my assets will cover my entire lifestyle. Sure, I can live on less, right? I can cut down my expenses. I can cut down how much my liabilities are, but I could also just make a lot more and build a lot more in assets and live any kind of lifestyle I want. If I want to live a $400,000 a year lifestyle, I can build up enough assets that generate enough cash flow to where I can live that lifestyle for the rest of my life, zero concern, zero F's given, because I have exited the game. I'm playing a different game. I'm out of the rat race at that point in time. You can do this too. You need to understand how this stuff works. You need to understand the meanings of these words, the vocabulary, the financial vocabulary. You got to understand how this stuff works first, which is why I broke it down. If you have any other questions about personal finance, about how to build wealth in your life, etc., get at me in the comments. I'm happy to do more videos like this. I thank you very much for your time. I hope this has been helpful. If it was, let me know in the comments. Thank you again. I'm going to call it for this video. Until we meet again, be well. I appreciate you, and I look forward to helping you build the lifestyle of your dreams through the business of your dreams. You can do it. I know, because I ain't got no college degree on this, no formal training on any of this. My wife and I have built an amazing lifestyle with amazing businesses. You can do it too. It takes a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. On that note, cheers. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next video. Be well.